What up, reader fam? Today I am bringing you my most anticipated releases of fall 2017, and this video is being sponsored in part by Penguin Random House, Disney-Hyperion, and Harlequin Teen. There are so many books coming out this fall. I can hear all my unread books on my shelf crying, because they know they're going to be overshadowed by all these new, shiny books. First up here we have All Rights Reserved, which actually comes out tomorrow, and this is a book that I'm surprised I haven't been hearing much about because it's got such an original concept, and I am here for it. We have this world where basically everything is copywritten, patented, or trademarked. Every gesture or every word you say, you gotta pay up. If I lived in this world, I'd have to say bye-bye to all my money because I talk way too much. So if you live in this world and you say a word that you're not able to afford, you get your eyes shocked. Like, excuse me? What a messed up world. We follow this girl named Speth Jime, which can I just say is a very interesting name, and one of her friends actually commits suicide because he can't deal with his family's debt. And because of this, Speth kind of starts an uprising. One day she just decides that she's going to remain silent. And a group of people start joining her, and then even more people start joining her, and it just becomes this really big thing. It grows into something bigger than she could even imagine. Though I imagine that this uprising is gonna come with a lot of consequences. This just sounds like the coolest concept, like nothing I've heard of before. It's got some major dystopian vibes to it, but it sounds like it's unlike any other dystopian I've ever read personally, so I'm really looking forward to giving this one a go. Next up we've got Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, and this book comes out on September 5th. This one I'm kind of excited about, but honestly more so nervous than excited. This book follows the character Kael Westfall from the Throne of Glass series, who is one of my all-time favorite characters, but Sarah J. Maas just seems to do him dirty time and time again, so that's why I'm nervous about this book. This next portion of the video is paid promotion with Disney-Hyperion. Next I have The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken, coming out on September 5th. Now this is actually the Booksplosion book of the month for the month of September, and I couldn't be more excited about it. I love Alexandra Bracken's books. I have quite the collection of her books back here on my bookshelves. Look at these pretties back here chilling on the bookshelf. And this is one that I am just so excited about because I remember when Alex was first talking about it, and she kind of touched on how she was inspired by things like Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus, which are some of my all-time favorite Halloween movies. Like, I grew up on films like those, so to say the least, I'm a little bit pumped about this book. So this story is about a boy by the name of Prosper, and because his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, or rather not so great-grandfather because of what he did to Prosper, he broke a deal with a demon, so Prosper has to deal with the consequences of that, and the consequences aren't that great. In fact, it means Prosper has a demon living inside of him. So Prosper must figure out a way to break this curse and banish the demon back to the demon realm. This is actually Alexandra Bracken's first time kind of delving into the middle grade world, so I'm really excited to see what her writing's like in this book. Also, I'm just really excited to read this book in September because it's gonna get me ready for October with all the Halloween feels, and I can't wait for it. Next up, I have Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, also coming out on September 5th. There are a lot of September 5th releases, you guys. If you've been following this channel at all, you know of my love for E. Lockhart's We Were Liars. Like, I love that book, and I'm hoping that I end up loving this one too. I have been waiting for years for E. Lockhart to release a new book, and it's finally here, and I couldn't be more excited about it. It's been since 2014 since she's released a book, and this book sounds just as mysterious as We Were Liars. The description tells me literally nothing about what's going to happen in this book. It appears the story has a focus on this friendship between these two people named Imogen and Jewel. You know what? I'm just gonna read the description of the book for this one. I don't normally do this. I like to come up with my own descriptions, but I literally can't come up with my own description for this book because it's so mysterious. Imogen is a runaway heiress, an orphan, a cook, and a cheat. Jewel is a fighter, a social chameleon, and an athlete. An intense friendship, a disappearance, a murder, or maybe two, a bad romance, or maybe three. Well, that just made me want to sing Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. I want your loving, I want your revenge. Blunt objects, disguises, blood, and chocolate? That's really weird. Chocolate. I wonder how chocolate comes into play in this story. The American Dream, superheroes, spies, and villains. A girl who refuses to give people what they want from her. A girl who refuses to be the person she once was. I am very intrigued with this description. It is very mysterious, but I am still really looking forward to getting into this book and to finding out what the heck happens. I just hope it doesn't destroy me like We Were Liars did. Next on my list is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, coming out on, you guessed it, September 5th. This story is set in a world where on the day of your death, you get a notification that you're going to die. And throughout this book, we follow Mateo and Rufus, who find each other on this app called the Last Friend app, which is set up for people who want to meet with other people who are going to die on the same day, and they can connect and spend their last day together. So that's what happens in this book. I'm sure this book is going to be heartfelt and emotional, and it's probably going to break me into a million pieces, but it'll be worth it. The next book on my list is A Poison, Dark, and Drowning, and this book comes out on not September 5th, but September 19th. Switching it up with that release date. This is the sequel to A Shadow, Bright, and Burning, and I am hyped up for this book. Like, hyped up, y'all. I read the first book last year, and I really liked it, and it was just a promising start to an epic series, and I'm shocked that more people aren't talking about the first book, because when I say it's good, I mean it's so good. I obviously haven't read the second book's description because I don't want to be spoiled for what this book is all about, so I'm just going to give you a description of the first book, and just for reference, this is what the first book looks like. It's glorious. You should go pick it up and read it. So this first book is about this girl named Henrietta Howell, who is the first female sorcerer in hundreds of years, and it's believed that she is basically the chosen one of this story. One day she accidentally reveals her powers out in public, and at first she thinks she's going to be executed, but instead she's taken in and trained as one of Her Majesty's royal sorcerers. Something that I loved about this first book is just how it kind of plays around with some tropes. You think you know how the story's gonna play out, but then the author's like, nuh-uh, we're gonna go in a different direction, one you never thought we'd go in. It's great. It's got some kind of Infernal Devices vibes to it. I'm saying that kind of hesitantly because I don't want people to think that this is exactly like the Infernal Devices, because it's not, but it's kind of got a similar feel to it, and I really liked it, and I can't wait for the sequel. Next on my list is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo, coming out September 26th. This is basically a short story collection with short stories by Leigh Bardugo set in her Grisha universe, which is the universe that the Grisha trilogy and the Six of Crows duology are set in, and it's a rich and beautiful world, and I'll take all that I can get from it. Next up, I have an Enchantment of Ravens coming out on September 26th. This is one that I've seen lots and lots of early buzz for, like the book isn't even out yet, and lots of people are talking about it. I kind of want to go into this one not knowing too much, but from what I've gathered, this book is about a girl who works in this place called the Autumn Lands, and she spends her days creating works of art for fairies. One day she ends up creating something that infuriates one of the fays, and so she is banished from the Autumn Lands. And I'm not sure what happens after that, but I'll find out soon enough when I read this book, or you know, whenever I get around to this book, because clearly my TBR pile is growing as we speak. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. The next book on my list is A Short History of the Girl Next Door, which comes out on September 26th, and this is actually the Booksplosion book of the month for the month of October, so you should pick this book up and join us for our October book of the month. This is a contemporary story about a boy named Matt who starts to have strong feelings for his best friend Tabby. He decides that he's going to keep these feelings to himself because he doesn't want to ruin the friendship he has with Tabby. He also decides to hide these feelings from Tabby though because she ends up getting in a relationship with one of the senior star basketball players, so he really can't do much about it and he doesn't want to get in between the relationship. And then there's some kind of tragic accident that happens. The description didn't say what happens, so obviously that's probably like a big part of the book and they didn't want to spoil what happens, but a tragic accident happens and it leaves Matt kind of living his life on the sidelines. And I want to say it's about him not being happy with where he's at in life, and so he does something about that. Like he wants to get back into the game of life. He doesn't want to be sitting on the sidelines. I'm very intrigued by this title and I can't wait to read it. I love me a good contemporary and I can't wait to discuss it with the Booksplosion crew. Next up, I have another Booksplosion book of the month, and this is our Booksplosion book of the month for the month of November, and that is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, Book 3, The Ship of the Dead. This book comes out on October 3rd, and I'm not ready, but I'm also super ready for this book, because on one hand I want to find out what happens, but I also don't want these characters to go bye-bye. Next up, I have Turtles All the Way Down by John Green coming out on October 10th. I can't believe we're getting another John Green book in the year of 2017. I'm in shock. I'm gonna need to snap out of it to be able to read the dang book. All I know about this book is that it follows a girl who gets caught up in this mystery regarding a billionaire, and it also has a focus on mental illness. And finally, the last book on my list is Witchwood by TAHEREH MAFI, coming out November 14th. This is a follow-up to TAHEREH MAFI's Furthermore, and it's also kind of a companion, I believe. Like, I think we're gonna see some characters from Furthermore show up in Witchwood. It's a dark Persian fantasy about this girl who washes dead bodies for a living. That alone has me wanting to read this book. Like, sign me the heck up. So those are all the books that I am highly anticipating coming out this fall time. There are so many books coming out. Like, my poor freaking bookshelves. I feel so sorry for you. But what I don't feel sorry for is my book loving soul. It's gonna be super happy. You guys should let me know down below in the comments some of the books that you are anticipating. Specifically, let me know if there are any books that you are anticipating that weren't on my list. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure and go and hit subscribe, or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.